Vacation's over. Let's get started. Let's begin. Okay, now the neck. Side stretch.
Welcome back to the Enterprise Refit build series. We are now starting the lightning bolt pattern on the pylons. So, let me give you my rundown of the masking on how it's supposed to be done. These are one of the few ones that you have to weed out first, just like we'll be doing for the sausage section. Basically, before you put the backing paper or the transfer paper on there, you got to remove some of it. For this one here, it's straightforward, which is really great about this one here. It's really one solid piece. You're just taking out all the little chunks. And these ones are for the outboard pylons. Then, but for the inboard here, you have two sets, which is like this one. Same thing. You just weed out the smaller pieces. It's when you get to this one, you need to really pay attention because it's not one piece. It's basically just straight across a bunch of little pieces. So to make your life easier, because you're going to have to look at it so you don't accidentally remove the one you need to keep, is you look at some of the bigger sections, like there's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. Remove the little pieces on it and then take the one off it, leave the next one, take the one off it. Basically, there should be no 2 pieces touching. If you have 2 pieces touching, then you did something wrong. On this masking set here, it's on 3 full sheets. Whatever is on one sheet is supposed to be on is the same color, and on the other sheet is another. And the best thing to do is label them. So in other words, what I did for this set here, I labeled them as number 1, like number 1 here, and also put like the color on it, which I didn't really need to do for the first round because the other 2 already did. Like for the second one, it's going to be gold, and for the third one, it's going to be green. And these are going only 3 colors. which is blue, gold, and green. So my number 1 set is going to be blue, 2 is going to be gold, and 3 is going to be green. I initially planned on wanting just to mask, you know, both sides on both pylons. But as applying even this easy one, this is why I went for this one first, because it's just one big sheet. You know, you don't have to worry about stuff moving away. Realize, you know, as you're working with it, you're going to get handsy underneath it. So which would have been fine for this one, but if I was going to do the other one, then I'm going to be shifting this and whatever. Remember, this stuff doesn't stick for, what's the magic word? So that's why even on here you can see I have a couple areas here and up here just to tape it and hold it to keep it from lifting up, especially over here. This wants to pull away pretty easily. So I am also going to expect that for the inboard parts, the small ones too. It's just what it's going to have to be. That's what I see. So I'm going to get set up for paint, and the first color we'll be spraying will be blue, and then gold, and then green, and then we'll do the inboard stuff. Same routine. Just so you know, before you start, you know, just check your masking here. A lot of these little points kind of want to lift up immediately. Bleh. So just kind of make sure you push them down and then spray. So give a good look, because once you have a little corner that lifts up, then your paint's going to go underneath it. So here we go. Here, I'll try to turn this so we can all look at it together. And I'm trying to be very far away so I can just get an even cloud as much as possible on it. Because if you're up close, you're gonna have, you know, it's just gonna be thicker in some areas. You have a couple spots here where this mask wants to lift up. Like here, it's like I gotta shoot immediately. This one does not want to stay down. So I may have to just use it like a shadow. Because let me check over here. I don't think I got any on the end. Okay. So that's blue. Obviously I got to remove this mask and put on another one. So here's the lightning bolt pattern. The masking job pretty much came out pretty good. It lines up nice. My issue is I think it's just too intense as far as how much paint was on it. But this actually gives an opportunity that I mentioned at the end of the last video on an experiment that I want to do to kind of dull it, not really dull it down, but remove some of that intensity. But not like, you know, I mean, one way you could do it is obviously you can spray just like a mist, some white on it, but then you're going to lose some of that, you know, that pearl shimmering effect. But like I mentioned before, at the end of my last video, I got some pearl white, wicked pearl white, and so with that, because you know the pearls itself has, you know, the nice shimmering effect. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to dust it over the whole thing, so it's not as, you know, in your face, because I can see this from a mile away and I don't want to see it from a mile away, but I want it to be just there. So here comes the first test of this. That way, hey, you can, hey, it might look good, it may not. So here we go. Try to flip to the other side. Looks like I'm doing more than putting like dust coat in it. I'm pretty much just going into where I like it. I mean, after all, I kind of want it to be primarily white. I have to up my pressure a little bit. Here we go. I mean, you can still totally see the pattern. There's a lot more than just a dust coat, that's for sure. Yeah. See, I'm just turning it into the light a little bit just to see how it looks. Very shimmery. Heck, I still didn't even mask off over here. I'm gonna try it over here too. If I like it, I may just actually do this over the whole thing. Okay, I think that's enough. So I'm gonna let it dry. I'm gonna take a couple pictures of it with my phone or whatever and see how it looks. Opinions. Now, it didn't seem like it reduced the intensity as much as I wanted for how much I put on. But what I'm liking, well, especially here on the pylon, because the pylon, it doesn't, there is no of the white base coat that's actually remaining as far as everywhere else is. just rotating it. I don't know if you can see it, but as I rotate it into different lights, it looks, I'm not complaining. I am kind of liking it. It looks kind of, I want to say, like the way the colors reflect off the white pearl that I put on it is even, but yet some of the other pearl that was underneath it from the iridescence does kind of like show through as well. So it kind of blends in a way. Really hard to describe. So what I think this is like, okay, the wheels in my head are actually kind of turning at this moment here. I would say just still have to be careful on laying down the 5 color, because it's going to be really hard to go back and reduce it. Like, I thought this would work as like I wanted to, but the only way to think on how to do that is actually use an opaque white, but you're basically starting over, and I don't want to do that. But I think also, even if I had this right, I would still probably dust the white pearl over it. It gives the whole thing, it gives the whole thing a pop. That's what I want to say. Like a pearl, like a shimmering pearl, which was the intent on this to begin with. So, well, I'm going to seal this up, and what will be next, we'll be working on over here. I've got a little bit of my paint finger on here, but that's easily cleanable. So we'll be doing this next, and hopefully it won't be as intense, but I may have to just make it even. We'll find out. Back from these commercial messages. So now we're on to the inside lightning bolt pattern of the pylons. So as far as how with these masks on this side is, I literally did this one first on one pylon before I went to this one, only because this is technically one piece while this is just pieces. I didn't want to do that one first in case handling that, and I moved a piece that's separated. So you kind of don't want to do that. So I did that first and did that one. And then I went to the other one because I won't be touching that one. But if you were to do this, there's a chance you might bump into another one. So that's kind of like the way I looked at it when I did this one, just for out of safetyness. And of course, I still had to put little bits of tape on some places just to keep it from shifting or anything. But of course, like on these little ends, it's already like instantly curling up, and it doesn't want to stay. So the best way to actually deal with that is before you spray, push it down. And then I would actually just spray directly right on it. Try not to get it underneath or at an angle where it can go up at any one of these points that's lifting, because as soon as you push it down, it lifts right back up. So I'm going to do this pylon, turn the model, do this pylon. So I'm trying to avoid any little of the spray to go underneath it. And what I want to do is, unlike on this side, I want to try go just extremely super light. Like I said, you know, well, you can't see now, but previously, you know, it's like, to me, it looked a little bit more too intense than what I wanted. The pearl didn't dull down as much, but I did like the effect of how it looked over it. I'm pretty much going to do the pearl white actually over the whole model, but I think I just want to not use as much. I'll just like dust it on there, because I did like the effect that it did give. So don't get me wrong, I just kind of, it went too intense down there, so I'm kind of stuck with it. So basically this model now is an experiment on techniques for the rest of you guys. It's definitely right now not model show worthy, but it's my model. All right, here we go. Let's start on the blue. Far away. I'm going to hit this side first. Here, maybe we can share the angle. I'm going to have to take a really close look at it. It's like just splatter, so I know it's like, hey, you're might going too intense, but all right. Push down. I'm going to have to hold it. Let's go for it. Always seem light on the edge over here. There we go. So I'm going to go farther away, get a little dust pattern. Okay. I gotta tell myself that's enough. I think it's a little less intense, even though I'm trying to go super light, but it's almost kind of like the same, so I guess it is what it is. But I'm still gonna do the pearl white dust cover over it. So here goes the pearl white. Yeah. So I hope this comes out good on the video for you. Hopefully the lighting will do it justice. Here, let me see if I can just tilt in angles. Maybe. So seal it up. And then, kind of one of the fun parts I'm kind of waiting for is actually unmasking pretty much the whole thing. And then it's literally just small little detail areas. Phaser emitters. There's a little thing right here that I noticed. Still got to put in the photon torpedo launcher. I got some work to do on the deflector dish before we put that on here. But yeah, we're almost getting down to the finishing touches on the secondary hull section. Then we'll be moving on to the saucer after that. But of course, right after here, next time you're going to see this in a sec, it's going to have a whole bunch of less tape all over it. So I'm masked up, ready to actually dust the whole thing in a pearl. I'm not worried about this area getting paint on it because the stronger back decal is going to go over it anyways. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball freehand where I see it's more intense. I'll add some more and some less in some areas. Probably mostly on the fantail area. So yeah, I know I'm flipping around as much, but kind of trying to juggle this thing at the same time. So here we go. And the pearl white is pretty transparent, so you're not going to really see like a definite too much, too little. I'm just hoping not to make some of this look too much like an Easter egg, like I was noticing in the beginning. But I do want to bury some of this in this fantail. To me, that was like really, you know, out there. Some of the neck issues. Oh yeah, by the way, off camera, I did the front of the Fullerton Torpedo in gold, because I wanted to dust this also in the pearl white as well. A bit up here. Actually, probably a little bit more. Okay. And I'm not trying to hit back here on behind of the warp nacelle pylons, because the black is there. Even if I do hit it, you ain't gonna really notice it. Like I said, this pearl white is kind of transparent. I mean, like, look here, I'll go and do it anyways. Yeah, you don't even see it. Yeah, but then again, might as well for the edge, because it's exposed. A little bit on the spine. Back of the neck. All right, I think that's good. So let that dry, and then we'll actually, I'm not worried about sealing it just yet, because the only thing I think I really have to do to paint is really these four. Let me try to, no place to grab it right now. Anyways, the four phaser emitters right there. These little square doohickeys. And as far as paint wise, I think that this will pretty much wrap up this part, not counting the deflector dish. I'm going to do that one separate because it's going to get attached towards the end. So we're going to paint that next and figure out what I should do from there. The first one. All right, so we're down into the final little bits to finish off the secondary hull. So just letting you know, I started filming and I forgot my microphone, so I had no audio. So I'm not going to really show just a couple little paints, little spray that I just did. I'm just going to describe it, and then we'll move on to more. So there's a front section of here and on the deflector dish that go together. Now the Trek Mahler paint guide, and even looking at the screenshots of the motion picture, doesn't really show well what color this and this is, except for the Enterprise A, which is more of a metallic, like a steel or a titanium color. But this, with the only couple good screenshots of this area and where the planet starts, is the dry dock scene. Obviously, the flyby is where it's at its brightest, and leaving the space dock is at its darkest. But both shots don't really have a definite color on what it is. Obviously, it is part of the iridescent color, and the only thing that actually looks like that has any hard lines is the front edge of right here where I have masked off, because it's my own stencil to recreate that. But as far as the color itself or what it's supposed to be, you're just going to have to go on its own. Now, what I decided to do, mainly for this one here, because the only hard line is where this stencil is, and that's supposed to be just the base color, is, see, I don't even know if I'm supposed to actually be mention this, because I really believe you should get the Trek Modelers paint guide. It's worth the money, and I'd hate to divulge too much information to give freebies, but there's a part in it that confuses the hell out of me, and so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. In the guide there, it describes on how to paint the dome here. And it says to use all 4 of the iridescent colors to create a silver foam or silver chrome effect. Now, it does not say whether do you mix all the 4 colors to make one, or do you layer it one by one, and if you do layer it, what order do you layer it in to make that effect? So it doesn't say that at all. So basically, it's figure out for yourself. So I decided that I'm going to layer it one by one, and at least I'm going to do that effect for this, because I do not know what the hell that is. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the silver chrome effect just for this. But since I'm going to be in all 4 colors, I need to do something about this area here. Now in these areas, the best look I can get out of it is from the bright scene. During the flyby, because it's at its brightest, there's definitely 2 colors here, and there's a hard line in the middle. But here, where the pennant is, you can see it's like almost nothing underneath the pennant, and then there's like a goldish moon, and on the edge there's like it's like fades into red. Now I do not know if it's just because of the lighting and the angle of this piece, it just made the gold into red, but I'm going for what I can actually see and the best that I can see it. So in this case, because I didn't have my mic plugged in, and I started doing this and started talking all this without filming, without audio. So I'm going to, obviously we're here back up to speed. I already shot this in the red first. Just a very, very, very light coat. Very light, just even super lighter than I've been doing everywhere else. And the same thing here, but I'm only doing it like on the edge. Basically, I aimed for the masking, and then just whatever little overspray, just kind of got enough of it on the edge where I need to do it. So that's where we're at on this. Next, I'm going to do gold, and I'm going to try to carefully do a circular, just to give that circle spot, and of course it will be put on here, and then green, and I'm going to do blue and greens on that, and of course on here, and then we should be done with the 5-color bullshit on anything involved in the secondary hull. So I'm going to get set up for the next color, because I already did that without the microphone. Second time I've done this in this video, in this section. Okay, so here we go. Time to march forward again. This one I kind of missed. All right. Now we gotta touch it from where it's in. So this is what I'm kind of going for. But this is how this kind of turned out. I'm kind of not liking it. So maybe it's possibly you have to mix all 4 colors. I'll try that one when I get to the sensor. But of course, you know, I'm not worrying too much because I'm going to do my dust cover of white pearl. And I have that loaded up. So here we go. I think I'll be doing extra on this one. Right. Maybe a little more dust on this one. Just because I have some. All right. So I think that's done. Well, I think it is done for the iridescent colors for the secondary hull. 2 more things to do. The phaser emitters, but up next there's an area right in here underneath the photon torpedo. It's the same color as the strongback that goes up the neck. There isn't a decal for that, but you can clearly see it in other screenshots. So I'm going to go grab my set of decals I got from HDA Model Works. I'm going to make a color that's close to whatever color I want to do as far as part of the strongback goes. Put that in there, and then the phaser emitters, wrap this part up and we can move on. Oh, I'm so good at forgetting to plug in my microphone. So obviously I'm doing the yellow. And what I did mention before, well, I did mention, you didn't hear me, is this is going to take multiple, because yellow is a transparent color, and I'm going over black here from the black out. And my yellow is kind of a little bit runny because I'm using the craft paint, a little more runny than I expected, but to make it work, you just got to do multiple passes and dry it up. This one should take 1 more, supposedly. Of course, if you have your paint runny, try to air dry it. I mean, I could remix it, but then again, using craft paint and stuff, it's like it can just, you know, get too thick instantly. So damn transparent. See, this is what I still have to deal with. You can still see kind of the black on it, so like it just wants to push away. I mean, it will take eventually, just being real difficult. Okay. All right. Honestly, I think one more pass, but I'm just going to let that pass air dry. Just in case if my heat gun is causing some of this crap. Okay, let's set that and unmask. Actually, now I can actually say we can button up this video and this part of the build of the paint, blah, blah, blah. Oh, deflector dish with RCS thrusters. Already unmasked the little lights. It's a little bit kind of scuffed on here, but no big deal. Easily cleanable, and of course, there's going to be decal all over it. My opinion on the whole layering of the 5-color, I think honestly I don't really like it, but you know, it is what it is. And of course the mother fly, well, it could be right for all I know, but so I'm going to run with it. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I get to the saucer for the dome, I'm going to actually just mix the 4 colors and just spray it on lightly. That's probably why it turned out like this, because each time you go and you go and you go, you're adding a lot more. So anyways, let's go and discuss this thing and show it off. All the masking is all taken off over the windows. I went ahead and solar resed and so I can just level the Arboretum windows. Turned out real nice. Of course, there's like, you know, your strobe lights and whatever. I just went ahead and put a little bead of solar res. You know, same thing up for that little strobe down here. Filled that in with some solar res. And of course up here for that strobe. And for the pylon light, well, not the pylon lights, the lights that hit up the neck and all that kind of bullshit. Did some solar res in there as well. These were already solar resed during when this thing was constructed. I just masked them over, but now they're all unmasked. Got to open up the shuttle bay again. Haven't seen this in months. Tell somehow it's a little bit dusty in there. I'm going to probably have to go in there with some type of, I don't know, some type of brush or something just to clean out some of that dust. See what else? What else? Oh, yeah. The photon torpedo launcher is installed. Oh, by the way, with all the paint work that had been done in here, but it just got layers and layers and layers and layers of paint on there. This thing was really hard to get in. I actually had to start sanding down with like 120 grit and reshaping the photon launcher just to get it to fit, because I did not want to force it in there, because it would be a good chance I could just split the neck open. So I had to do a lot of fine sanding, and I glue to a canopy glue, so that way it will dry clear. You know, fly. Oh my god, bastards. Oh yeah, another thing too, because I did mention what I needed to do on previously, but I didn't really show it. Back here on the neck, the center of this is supposed to be dark blue. A lot of people just do the full thing, but I just happened to catch a glimpse of it, you know, going through screenshots, and I noticed that this is a different blue over to the side, so that I just brushed that on because it's just so small. Let's see, what else can I talk about on this thing? Pretty much that. Well, actually, that's it. You know, other than decals, this thing is pretty much complete. So this thing is going to be set aside, obviously, for a while. Good thing, it'll give it plenty of time to fully cure from all this paint work, especially before decals. Same thing for the deflector dish. And of course, I'm not putting the deflector dish on right now because behind here which I can actually pull out now. I don't see why. You know, all this bunch of wiring is actually connected to everything in here from in here. So until I get the base rating and all this done, you know, I want to make sure, like, if there's going to be any issues, I want to still be able to get to it to the last minute. So I don't want to seal this up yet, especially because of all this moving that's been happening here. If there's going to be an issue, it's going to be around here. But hopefully not, because I put a stick right here to help kind of keep a lot of this straight so it's not kinked too much. Especially with all the handling of this motherfucker. So, but at least now I can set this off to the side and we could end this video here, and we'll actually get into something I've been looking forward to. Thank God, I'm actually tired of this thing. The saucer section. And yeah. So obviously I can't form words together because I'm actually glad and excited the paint work on this is done, and finally get to work on another part of the model, and, you know, just grinding away and getting this thing done, because this thing takes up your life. So see ya, bye for now. I said go away. Get the